pizza too. I haven't eaten. Hey guys, episode 4, Claret News. I made it myself too. Claret News, episode 4 with Matt. We're just talking about pizza before we went live. I'll be eating a few bites. I'm pretty hungry. Didn't eat dinner. Made a pizza myself. It's pretty good. Maybe the best pizza I've ever had. I don't know. But yeah, so Claret News, episode 4. Obviously,
episode 4.
Let's just dive right into it. Obviously, coming off a victory, it was Southampton.
We won.
3 points. Southampton 0. West Ham 1 from the St. Mary's. Yeah. Before we dive into the articles, Matt, thoughts on the match?
Yeah. I think the win is the most important thing. Let's not get too carried away. We've beaten a very, very poor Southampton side.
Right.
But a win was the important thing. I think we were all screaming out for 3 points. 3 points we've got. We were all screaming out for 2 up front. 2 players up front we got. So going into a really busy Christmas break, and ours luckily isn't that busy because that Liverpool game has been postponed because they're off in that Mickey Mouse World Club Cup thing. So that's why we now got a nice little rest. But I thought actually we were good value for the win. Got to enjoy it while it lasts. Got a lot of people out there are already saying, "Oh well, this doesn't change much. This is nothing really changed at the club. Nothing has changed at the team." But let's all give ourselves 5 minutes just to enjoy a win because it doesn't happen really often. So that's the most important thing.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like they say nothing's changed. What has changed is we have 3 more points in the table, and that's the most important thing.
Right.
I want to hit on one of the first things you mentioned, which was that we played 2 up front.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
And
2 up front.
2 up front.
Rock and roll.
And Neil from Down Under, by the way, is not too happy that we are 20 minutes late. So sorry, Neil.
Sorry, Neil. I think technically it was Tim's fault because he's not answering texts.
We can.
I don't want to blame anybody. I don't want to blame anybody. But if I had to blame somebody, there he is. Yeah.
Tim is on vacation with his in-laws, so always a tough situation from what I've heard.
Oh yeah.
Things and no blame to go around. We'll make do. But I wanted to hit on the first thing you said, which was that we had 2 up front, and I think the main reason we had 2 up front was because Felipe Anderson was hurt. So I think the big question is going to be, will he keep that formation? Because he did not go to it for tactical reasons. He went to it due to an injury. It wasn't because he said, I need to drop this guy and put another person up front. It was, I need to drop this guy because he's hurt. Right. Might as well put 2 up front. Right. That's the question that is on my mind, because I think we looked a lot better without Felipe Anderson. I think Felipe Anderson has looked lethargic, slow, and sluggish. He has not had that killer instinct that he had last season, and he is also developing. He's also developing a little bit of a little bit of an attitude problem, in my opinion. It's starting to show a little bit. So, yeah. So I don't know. I really hope that we can. I hope that he's dropped. To be honest, even if he's healthy, I think he should be on the bench. That's what I took. That's what I took away from the match.
I think you're right. I think it's an interesting one. Is it that his hand was forced and he had to make a change, and so this is what he went with. Obviously, Lanzini still out, although there are rumours he might make it back for the next game. Anderson injured, so he almost had to play 2 up front. To be honest, I mean, the big test will actually be now is played 2 up front. We've played well and we've won. Will he change back? So I'm almost not that interested in if he will, how it came about, because I think we all know really how it came about. I think if Anderson had been fit, he would have stuck with what he knows. But I feel that if it's one of those things that what will he do, against Palace? If he changes it back, he's shooting himself in the foot. I can't see why he would. I think Antonio has been a bit of a revelation up front. And that's all, and that is entirely down to the fact that he's quick and he's busy. I mean, let's all hold our hands up. Antonio is not a striker, right? That lad has played at fullback, has played on the wing, has played through the middle. He's played everywhere for West Ham, and he's not, and he ain't a striker. So I don't quite know if that's a long-term answer. Clearly, Allaire needs to play in a 2.
Yeah.
I just don't. For me, the big test is going to be now. Will be Palace. Will he be able to? Will he change it back if Anderson's fit, or will he just, or will he stick with a winning team? If it was me, I'd stick with a winning team. I think he needs to do himself a favour and stick with a winning team, because if he starts playing, tinkering around, and it all goes wrong, do you know what I mean? He's shooting himself in the foot. He's almost best off just to leave it. He's now got what, 10, 11 days. Don't do nothing. Just keep everybody fit and just turn up again.
Yeah, absolutely. Charlie Boy asks, if we do play a 4-4-2 and Lanzini comes back, where would you play him? Matt, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So Charlie Boy asks, if we play a 4-4-2 and Lanzini comes back, where do we play him?
If we play a 4-4-2 and Lanzini comes back,
yes.
Well, I don't know if you play a 4-4-2 with Lanzini in the team. So I don't know if those two things go together. I think because you look, to be fair, I think Fornals is actually playing pretty well at the minute. He's had a bit of a run in the team. He's a young lad. His confidence is up. I thought, there's been the last couple of games, he's really started to come into his own. So at the minute, I don't know if I would introduce Lanzini. And first of all, Lanzini ain't going to come back from another long-term injury and go get straight in the team, because he's not going to be match fit.
Right.
So I almost think, certainly the next game back, that he'll start on the bench and he'll bring him on, and he might try and give him the last 15, 20 minutes just to ease him back in. I can't really see him starting. It's a good question, but I can't see him starting next game. No.
Well, yeah, no, I don't see him starting next game. I think it's like, where if he does come on, where do you play him in that formation? I'm not sure the answer to that question, and the answer may be what you gave. You don't play him in that formation. But to be honest, Lanzini is such an afterthought for me right now. He's still a very good player on his day, but he's proven that to be too inconsistent at times.
Yeah,
and he's so injury prone. I think he's been injured nearly every year since he permanently started.
He has. I think it's one of those other things as well with Lanzini. Obviously, he had that major injury, coming into the last World Cup. Then he's had this one off the back of it. So I think there's going to be a big question mark there about his overall readiness and his overall fitness, for the rest of the season. I mean, if he does come on, it'll probably be a straight swap for Fornals, or because I can't see him coming on once Noble kind of has done his 75, 80 minutes and needs to come off, because at the minute Pellegrini's still got a little bit of a thing for Carlos Sanchez. So I can't see him coming on there. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he can do 10. Maybe he can do 10 minutes up front. When Antonio gets knackered. I don't know. He needs game time, and he needs game time. For his fitness, for his confidence. But who knows? I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't mind seeing Anderson maybe have a run up out front. If it's just a case of Allaire needs someone up front with him who's just going to do a lot of running, do a bit busy, maybe we give Anderson a spin up there. I know that's not his natural position, obviously, and that's not what he's been brought into the team for. But I almost feel at the minute things have been so up and down that, you know, playing to basically he can do what he wants, but he's got to play. But if he's playing Haller, he's got to play 2 up front.
Yeah,
right?
totally agree with you. I disagree with you on the Anderson up front. I'm not saying that I would always be opposed to the idea, but Antonio has earned that spot. Anderson, in my opinion, has earned a spot on the bench. So I don't think that – I'm not saying that will never be an option, but I definitely don't think that's a short-term option right now.
Right. I mean, we need the big thing really is actually that come January, we need a striker, right? Because Antonio striker, and yeah, you might get 15 minutes out of him here, 15 minutes up there. He's not a striker. This has clearly not worked out. The lad can't get a look in at all. So it doesn't matter how bad we've been or how much we might be craving to up front. You know, he can't get a look in. I mean, what happens there in January, I don't know. Whether we bring somebody else in, I think is interesting.
Let's talk about January right now. You sent an article, one of the articles that we're going to read, about Ajeti being open to a West Ham loan exit, which I thought was interesting. So essentially, we have 2 true strikers on our team, really, if you think about it. And one of them is the third choice striker, technically. If he does leave with one true striker and a person who plays striker occasionally, which is Mikel Antonio, a player that has also had injury problems as well.
Yeah.
If he leaves on loan, I think we need to sign someone else or get someone else on loan. I think that's just leaving way too much.
Yeah.
Especially if we want to play 2 up front, if that's what we want, which it looks like we're better that way.
Yeah.
I mean, he leaves and Antonio gets hurt. Who goes up there with Haller? You're back to a one striker system.
Yeah, and this is the problem. This position for me at the start of the season, even bringing Haller in, was a little bit thin on the ground anyway. Basically, it was just that these 2 lads were the only 2 we had on the books. It's become painfully clear that Haller only can play up front in a 2.
Read this though, Matt. So due to UEFA rules, his options for potential loan switch in January are drastically short, able only to join a team in a league starting a new season in the new year, such as Sweden, the USA, or Japan.
Right. So he's not going anywhere. He's not going to Portugal. He's not going to Italy. He's not going back to Switzerland. He's not going. Do you know what I mean? He's got very limited options, which means that we've got very limited options. Because the thing with a loan deal nowadays is that the club who the player is going on loan to will often absorb some of the wages. Now, I don't know how much he's on, but we'll want to offload some of his wages so that way we can hand some of that money to whoever would come in. Are you going to get clubs in those sorts of leagues to pay a big chunk of his wages? Probably not. I really don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen with him on that front. It's just not worked out. I mean, there's been all this talk about that Jovic lad who was playing with Haller at Madrid, who is now looks like he's fallen well out of favour. That move hasn't worked out for him. Obviously, Haller and him were together, playing together in Germany. So that he's looking for a loan move. Obviously, that would suit us down to the ground. That's not going to happen. So I really don't know. It's a big question that. And you buy a striker in January, you're going to pay well over the odds, right? Well over the odds. Yeah. And who's going to be available?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Not ideal shopping time.
I just don't see it happening. I know he's probably frustrated, but he's got two better players in front of him, and he's going to have to, sack it up and try to get past those guys on the depth chart. But yeah, I don't think he's going to. I don't think he's going to leave. I just don't think Manuel Pellegrini will want that to happen.
No, there's no way he goes on loan and we don't bring someone else in, and the odds are we're not going to bring in another striker. So
correct.
He's not. He's probably. My assumption is he's probably not going anywhere. We'll see. I mean, maybe he gets a bit of a run in the cup. Maybe. He gets a bit of a run in the cup. I would like to see Pellegrini really take the cup seriously. Obviously, it's been we've had a couple of disastrous cup runs over the last few years. Wimbledon last year, Oxford this year. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
we've got Gillingham in the cup coming up. Maybe Jetty gets a bit of a run out there. We'll see. I would like though, to be honest, I'd like him to take it a bit more seriously than that.
We need to put our first team out there. We need to put our best team out there. There's no excuse. We're not in any other competitions. And for me, this isn't a give me. This is not a give me. There's a reason why Sky Sports or whoever has the FA Cup rights put this on TV. There's a reason. We've been slayed by the so-called, we've been Goliath, and we've been slayed by the so-called Davids, but we're not a Goliath. We cannot. We play down to our level, and even excuse me, we play down to our opponent's level, and even below it. So not a give me for me, and we need to play our first team, in my opinion, in that game. Yeah, no, I caught in my throat there.
That pizza wasn't that good.
No, I still got another slice. It's really good, actually.
Yeah, we do play down. Yeah, we do play down. I think that's our biggest problem, really. We play down. We don't play up. So we'll see. But this is the boss's job. He's got to get people motivated. He's got to get people up for it. We've got a good boost now, a good rest. So we have to see how we go.
Yeah, let's talk about. I know we spoke about it a little bit. Let's talk about the game. I know Southampton are a poor side, although they were in a bit of a good run of form. I think they were unbeaten in their last three, including a draw at Arsenal. So they were in form. I wouldn't say West Ham played their best game, but thoroughly deserved the 3 points. I don't think Southampton. Towards the end, it got a little nervy for sure, and if you let that game go 5 or 10 more minutes, who knows what'll happen?
Yeah.
But a win is a win. 3 points is 3 points. Can we kick on? I mean, when are you gonna start to believe in Pellegrini again? If we beat Palace, will you start, or do you still need more proof?
I mean, kicking on. I mean, that's the big question, isn't it? Is it can you then turn one result into another result, and then two? That's been our big problem this season, isn't it? That's been a problem. I mean, after the Chelsea game, we thought we might be in with a chance. And the big thing over Christmas, which created a run of form, is we've got a really, really, really busy calendar. I know we've got this break now, but then we're on a run of four games in 10 or 12 days.
Yeah.
So that's when it's really difficult to develop a run of form, right? Because you're playing and playing and playing, and that's when the squad really is going to get stretched. So I don't know. A run of definitely a good morale boost. I mean, that Guardian article you've got up there, I thought was really interesting. That quote from Antonio. I don't know if you had a chance to read it, but I thought it was really, really interesting.
This one right here.
Yeah, it says here dressing room, and a good manager doesn't put pressure onto players. A good manager allows you to play with freedom and confidence. And that is something he said to us. Just go out there and play like you know you can. And we felt we did that for him. So there's a lot of talking. There's a lot of talk in that quote about the players playing for the manager, which I thought was really interesting. Because clearly they think that that Pellegrini has got something to offer the team and has got something to offer the squad.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to hear that from your player, albeit, Antonio is a guy that I think is in the manager's good graces, so it's always easy for a player who plays a lot and starts every game to say that. That being said, I'm not going to discount it. I'm not going to say that Antonio didn't mean it, and I'm sure that Antonio wouldn't have said it if he was the only one that thought that. So, yeah, sure. I think as a whole, the team has. I don't think it's been. I mean, at times there has been questions of effort, especially from certain players. That's no doubt. But overall, the issue really hasn't been effort or passion. It's just simply been a lack of tactical flexibility, of a lack of a game plan. And that leads to no confidence. And I think there's a difference between no confidence and no effort. Sometimes it can show in the same ways, but I think there's a massive difference. And I think it's been a confidence issue rather than an effort issue or a motivation issue for the Hammers.
Yeah, the confidence thing is an interesting one. I think if you look at that Arsenal game, I generally thought for the first 55, 60 minutes, we looked pretty confident. And then obviously they scored and our heads went down and they scored again. And they scored again. The game was over in 10 minutes. So I think our confidence probably is fragile. Winning solves everything. So we'll see. And also what will raise the confidence of the players is if we can bring in one or two new members to the squad over January. I think if the players see that the board are, if we're going to stick with Pellegrini and it's now Tuesday, so I think we are going to stick with Pellegrini. I think if they were going to make a change, they would have had something lined up already. So it looks like he's going to be the man to see the season out. Is that will we be able to bring in someone to bolster the squad? Because it sounds like if the players have got faith in the manager, and Antonio's saying it there in black and white, then the board are going to have to kind of respect that from the squad of players and see how we go. It's just a case of, well, like we said earlier, who do we bring in? So we'll see. The other thing as well with that confidence factor is that we've got some of the other players. If Fornals can keep playing with some confidence, if Rice can keep playing with a little bit of confidence, because he's been a bit shaky for me, Declan, so far this season. I think that's really going to help as well. I mean, but same thing, like we just talked about last week, like was mentioned the other night on American Hammers TV. It's just the same errors keep popping up, the same issues keep popping up. Fullbacks always a problem. Centre back partnerships back and forth. It's just the same long term problems with the club. So I almost feel in January, we do need a striker because we need someone else to play up front with Allaire because he cannot play up front by himself. But also to strengthen the team in other ways. I mean that article there on the Evening Standard you've got was a really interesting one because the headline there was interesting. It says West Ham cash in as Manuel Pellegrini finally pairs Mikel Antonio and Sebastian Allaire up front together, as if it was some sort of genius tactical move. And we said, like we said at the start, I don't know if the word finally is right because his hand was forced and he almost had no choice.
Yeah, his hand was forced. And that's the big question on my mind. Will he go back to the 4-2-3-1 that we've been seeing? Or will he stick with this 4-4-2? If either Anderson starts or, obviously not due to injury, if Anderson starts simply just due to manager choice and they revert back to the system, I'll be infuriated, man. I'm not gonna lie, I'd be
Yeah.
infuriated. I don't think that'll happen. I think Pellegrini is a smart enough man to realize, okay, I have to stick with this team. This team won me the game. They saved my job. I have to stick with them because
they have saved his job. Yeah, they have. Yeah,
they have saved his job. And this game is so important. 3 points. People are going to start talking about pushing for 7th. They really.
Oh, don't start all that.
No,
who are these morons?
They will.
Who's going to start selling this bollocks? Push for 7th.
I'm telling you. Well, okay. First of all, let's look at the table here, Matt. If they
put it up.
If they were to get 22 points, all right. So 7th right now is at 25 points. You don't think people are going to be saying, "Oh, we can go back we can get 7th now. We can get 7th. We can get 6th." I mean, it's going to happen, and I'm telling you. And then you lose, and people are going to say Pellegrini out. It's crazy, but that's how big the game is. And to be honest, I think if you lose to Palace, he may be. But if you lose to Palace and Leicester, he's for sure gone, in my opinion. He needs to go.
Yeah, we said this a couple of weeks ago. If we lose this game, he'll definitely go. If we lose this game, he'll definitely go.
But they haven't lost it.
He ain't going nowhere. He ain't going nowhere.
You're telling me if we
ain't going nowhere.
If we lose our last 3 games, you don't think he's going anywhere?
Yeah, but we didn't. That's the point, isn't it?
If we lose our next 3 games, if we lose our next 3 games,
the next 3.
Yeah.
But then it's almost too late. The ball literally, I've got to grow a pair of bollocks and say either this is the bloke to finish us out the season, etc., or he's not. There's all this more. I will give you what. This is the thing. When you and I are at work, right, and you're not performing well, your boss doesn't come and say, "It's been a bit shit. You've been a bit of a disaster, but I'll give you another 7 days to turn it around." Oh wait, I'll give you another 7 days to turn it around. Oh, that's not how it works. Do you know what I mean? Like the board have definitely got set targets that he has to meet, right? Definitely things that he has to achieve as a manager. And the reality is it's not happened, right? It's not. So all this, we can have another 10 days. We can have another 7 days. And as well, what must that do for him? Is it all the time is living on a knife edge? Either they back him and they say, "This is it, you're staying," or they tell him, "Sling your hook, we're going down a different route." You cannot keep up with another 2 games here, another 2 games here. It's just a nonsense. It's a nonsense. The season is a marathon, not a sprint. And we keep treating it like this bit part. How can you put form together like that if that's the club's attitude, right, where it's little bits. Form is game after game after, is a long thing. Not little bit here, like it's just nonsense. Either he's in or he's out. And at the minute, it's Tuesday now. In my opinion, he's in. And he's not going nowhere, so they've got to stick around in their pocket, back him, and then see where we go. No, we are not going to finish anywhere bloody where near 7th. If you ask me, we'll be lucky to finish top 10. But if he's in, he's in. If he's not, he's not. Let's make up our fucking minds.
Well, I think I agree with everything you're saying, and so far it's been they're holding on for hope, and he's essentially had 2 chances, really. And he keeps winning that game, that game to just save his managerial life, just to save it. And you're right in that you can't play that game for the rest of the year. Otherwise, they're going to end up in the relegation zone. So in my opinion, there needs to be progress. What is progress? We need 3, 4, 5 games unbeaten, getting results, getting a couple wins here and there. That's what's necessary. And so if you tell me, if you ask me, Justin, when do I think he needs to be fired? There needs to be no more than 1 loss in the next 3 games. There needs to be 2 results.
We said this weeks ago about then it's been X number of losses. Do you know what I mean? What are we doing?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, he's just saved his life, and as you get on in the season more and more, just saving your life is now there's like a bar that's being set, and he's just grabbed onto the bar and held on for dear life. That bar is now raised higher and higher. And if there's 2 losses in back-to-back losses, in my opinion, and even a Palace loss, he's gone. He has to go. He has to go.
It's too late.
Question.
It's too late.
You don't think that you think they're with him.
It's too late.
With them no matter what.
No, listen. If it was up to if I had my way, he would have already gone, and they would have brought someone in. I'm simply saying I said last time we were on last week, we had the game against Southampton, and then he had a run and there was a 12-day gap, right? So that was a period of time there to get him out, get somebody in with a whole week of preparation time, talk to the squad, and then go, right? The board had a window. That window was closed. So I cannot see them going back on it. I cannot. I don't listen. I'm not a Pellegrini fan, because it's just a pattern. We had this last year where we had a bad run of form, and he needed to save his job. He needed to turn it around, and he did. He had a couple of run results, and the same things happened this year. I don't see any progress at all as us as a footballing side under Manuel Pellegrini. I don't see any progress at all, really. Yeah, the squad is better, right? And on paper, our squad, you look at that table, our squad is way better than the likes of Palace, way better than the likes of Wolves, way better than the likes of Sheffield United, right? But us as playing football and what's happening for 90 minutes on a Saturday and a Sunday has not got any better. So he keeps doing enough to save his job. I'm simply saying, if he was going to go, he should have gone. He should have gone.
He should have gone.
Right, and he hasn't. So we may as well now, or just get on board and back him, because.
So you're saying
it's done. It's done.
You're saying at this point we're going down. We're going down with the ship with Pellegrini at the captain. Pellegrini's going down with the ship, or that's it.
Yeah, I genuinely think that's what the board are thinking. Yeah, I really, really do. I think that this is it now. They've got to back him. They've got to go in there now and think, right, let's January transfer. I tell you, January transfer window as well. If this is the manager, they've got to stick their hand in their pocket. In my opinion, one or two quality players, not the usual old nonsense you get kind of floating around in January. Try and bring in 1 or 2 quality players and back him.
So
because the window for him to go has closed. It's finished. It's gone.
I disagree. If you look here, okay, you have 3 games coming up in 9 days. You have this start of 3 games that occur within 6 days of each other. Okay.
Okay. Tell me what those games are.
Away at Palace, home at Leicester.
Yep.
Bournemouth. 2 home games. 2 home games and away at Palace. Not the easiest place.
One against Leicester.
Yeah. So away at Palace, home Leicester, home Bournemouth. Okay. I know we have the FA Cup game, and I care about it. I really do. But if we're talking Premier League here, right? We're really talking Premier League. Like, yes, we want a cup run, and I'm not saying disregard it, but at the end of the day, priority number 1 is survival. There's a 9-day gap. Between
priority number 1 is survival. Fuck it.
It is, but do you just? I know it's stupid, but do you?
I'm not disagreeing, but this is a ridiculous conversation.
Yeah. Well, it's a conversation where we're in this fucking position where we're actually talking about this shit. Believe me, I wish that we could be talking about, do we have a chance for top 4 instead of, are we going to get relegated? But look, there's a 9-day gap between Bournemouth and Sheffield United. Those 2 games are back to back. This gap right here, this Southampton to Palace was 12 days, 9 to 12 days. It's a pretty long time. I think that this is the last window for Pellegrini to be sacked. I think these 3 games, you'll get to the halfway point of the season, actually just over the halfway point of the season, 20 games. In my opinion, if there are multiple losses in that stretch of 3, he's gone. He has to go. And that's the last window to do it. In my opinion.
No, it's not. It's that window. No. But this is what I'm saying, Chet. It's always the same. We said this 3 or 4 weeks ago. We looked at that. We looked at the running of fixtures. and we talked about Arsenal being shaky all over the shop and Southampton being poor, and who do we play before? And Wolves, right? So we beat Chelsea. We had those 3 games. We had the Wolves game, the Arsenal game, and a Southampton game. And we talked about that then, and we also talked about worst case scenario. If we don't get enough points, it'd have to go. All we're doing is shifting that conversation about these 3 games. If we don't get this to the next group of 3 games, and what'll happen is we will probably Palace away. We might scrape a point. We'll lose to Leicester at home, and I would expect we'd win a 3rd. So we get 4 points, and it's like, and then other results don't go away. Oh, well, we're giving the next 3 games. We can't keep having this conversation. It's got to be back him, or tell him to go. It's got to be one of those 2 things. It has to be.
I agree with you.
Round and round and round.
I agree with you.
Yeah, so stop shifting the window. You keep shifting the window.
No.
I'm saying the window's closed.
No,
you're saying he can still get the sack. I'm saying he won't.
I'm saying yes. I am. You're correct. So I agree with you that
and I'm correct. Thank you.
There needs to be a decision made. That is what I agree with you on. Where we disagree is when the decision needs to be made by. You're saying that point is already passed, and I'm saying that the new year is that point. That's where we disagree, and we'll leave it at that.
It's madness.
Now, how is that mad? Tell me how that is mad.
Because it's really simple. Because it's a case of we had from the Southampton game to the Palace game, we had a 12-day window. That is plenty of time.
There's a 9-day window between the 1st and the 10th. Don't give me the 12. There's a 9-day window. It's the same thing. 3 days. That's not 12 days. That's still a big window.
Look at what happened at Man United I misspoke there. Look at what happened at Spurs. Pochettino got the sack, right? They give him the elbow. Mourinho was signing a contract the next day. They had it all lined up. They had it all figured out.
Obviously,
we just fucking stumble around.
Believe me, if we could get Jose Mourinho ready to go, lined up, Pellegrini would have been gone. But that's not the case. We don't have options. No one wants to fucking manage us, man. No one wants to manage us. That's actually worth. There's no one that wants to manage us now at this point, besides people like David Moyes and Chris Hughton, where fans would go ballistic. Fans would go nuts. You don't think if Eddie Howe was like, you know what, I'm in, sign me up, Pellegrini would be gone by now. There's no one there. No one.
Okay, and here's another conspiracy theory. Is the reason why we haven't done anything over these 12 days is because we said last week that there was us, there was Everton, and there was Arsenal looking for managers, right? Rumours are that Everton have managed to get Ancelotti, right? Because he got the sack from the Napoli job, so they've got Ancelotti, and Arsenal have gone out, and it looks like it could be the case that they've gone out and they've got Arteta from Man City, right? So we said last week that there were 3 teams, probably us included, could be on a sniff around for a manager. Those 2 other teams have got Ancelotti and they've got Mikel Arteta. Two. I know Arteta hasn't had the top job in the Premier League, but he's been learning from the best for a really long period of time, right? And actually, I'll say it now: if it'd been the other way around and we'd got Arteta, I'd be over the moon, right? I would have thought that was an excellent appointment. Risky, but I thought it'd be a good appointment. We're now left because the board are in this thing where like we're going to give him 2 games here, we're going to give him 3 games there, in absolute limbo. I agree with you. Yeah, if Eddie Howard said I might fancy a move, but there were managers out there because those 2 other clubs have done it.
You don't think that they reached out to Ancelotti, and probably not Arteta. I don't think Arteta would have left City for anyone but Arsenal. But you don't think they've been reaching out to people? There's no way in hell they haven't been reaching out to people. And they've been reaching out to people. Like, I would be shocked if they didn't reach out to Ancelotti. I'd be shocked if they haven't reached out to Luka Jovic.
You know what happens when we reach out as a club? When we try and buy players, we try and do it. How much do you want? I want 7 million in a year, so we'll try and give you 3. So they probably have reached out, but they tried to probably do it on the cheap. And the reality is, if the choice is between Pellegrini staying or Moyes or Houghton or whatever else, I would 100%. I would stick with Pellegrini. I don't want no. I'm not interested in Moyes. I'm not interested in Houghton. It's absolute waste of time. Absolute waste of time. John's saying there on the chat that he thinks Ancelotti for a relegation fight thinks we might have dodged a bullet. I don't know about that. I think we'd be mad to have, if we could have had him, right, in Fantasyland. If we could have had him, we would be mad to have turned him down. Absolutely, 100%. We would have been mad to turn him down. I understand the point that John's made there. That Ancelotti might not be a manager who's used to kind of scraping along at the bottom of the table and relegation battles. But we'd be mad to have turned him down.
League winner, a 3-time Champions League winner, that would have been
right. Premier League experience, man. Was doing. Well, I thought was doing a fairly decent job at Napoli, but obviously the governors over there thought differently. I don't know. This is the problem. We are, we've been having this conversation for a while now, and so as some of the other shows on the America's Hammers network, and we're no really wiser off, except we've not completely buggered up all the results, and maybe that's the way the season goes. We've got these next 4 games. Maybe we get 4 points there, and the next 3 after that, maybe we get 4 points. We just continue to kind of just stumble along a bit. Boom, boom, boom. We finish 13th.
Yeah.
And then see what happens in the summer. That's probably what's going to happen.
I just don't think the window's closed yet, in my opinion. It is closing and it's almost closed, but I just don't think it's closed yet. I don't think that because we haven't fired him by now, we can't do it later, get someone else and have a safe season. I think that's still possible.
Anything's possible at West Ham.
I also still think it's possible that he could get sacked before the Palace game. I know people have said, and
do you?
I wouldn't be. I mean, listen, would it surprise me? Yes, absolutely. Especially because I think it would have happened by now, and a lot of rumors are saying that he's safe. But I mean, if there is someone out there that does come across the radar that is a better. See, here's the fucking thing, man. I'm thinking about this. The people that are making this decision are the two Davids and Karen Brady, and it's just I have no faith that they're going to make the right decision.
I mean, arguably, you try and point to a right decision that they have made. I don't know. I don't know. Listen, and here's the bigger point: is that we've sat here now and gone and discussed and argued various points, and we don't know, right? So
yeah, even Neil just said, "But who is that someone else, Justin?" I don't know, Neil. I don't know.
Well, it might be point. 100%.
I don't think there's anyone out there. I don't think there's anyone out there who would be an improvement from. Listen, Pellegrini's played some really poor football this year, but he's still, in my opinion, a better manager than a majority of managers. And Chris Houghton or David Moyes is a regression. And so, is there any
big step back?
Is there anyone that is a progression at this point of the season? I just don't see that, and I think that's my point. I think that's the reason why they haven't sacked him. But there may come a point if you keep losing games, or you have to sack him. You have to make a decision just to get someone in there. I mean, if we lose the next 3 games, he needs to go. He needs to go, and at that point, you just got to put someone new in.
Well, okay. So let's very briefly talk about that someone new. I'm just checking here on Odds Checker. Next West Ham manager. So Eddie Howe is still favourite. 7-4 with Sky Bet, 74 with William Hill, 7-2 with Betfair, 3-1 with BetVictor, and 7-2 with Paddy Power. Then Rafa Benitez has moved up over the last week. He's 11-8 with Sky Bet, and then 4-1 across the board with most of the other bookies. David Moyes number 3, 4-1, 7-2, 9-2, 6-1, then 9-2. Chris Houghton, he's at 6-1 with Sky Bet, 8-1 with William Hill, 3-1 with Betfair, 8-1 with BetVictor, and then Enzo Maresca is the interesting one, who's on this list down here at number 5. So, before you get into kind of real silly talk with the likes of Redknapp and whatever coming back, Enzo Maresca is the other name there on the list, who I think reading things coming through is that he is he's got a lot of respect from the players at the club. That they really rate what he's doing coaching wise. But again, just that would be a big unknown gamble. I don't know. I mean, out of that list again, Eddie Howe is definitely my top choice. I don't know if the Benitez thing is realistic. I'd be perfectly happy with Benitez, to be honest. But yeah, Houghton, no. Moyes, no. Redknapp's on the list. That won't happen, but no. I just don't know. But yeah, I think, if you're asking me, Pellegrini will be there to the end of the season, and we will finish 12th or 13th. I reckon.
Yeah.
I reckon that's what will happen, and we'll all start again, and we'll all go round again, and yeah.
I don't want to talk about it anymore. Let's wrap it up there. Thanks everyone
we're just finishing because we can't be bothered. We can't face it.
No, yeah, I don't.
Can't face it.
Thanks everyone for commenting and listening. I see Vagos from
big up. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for supporting us all the way from Greece. I actually agree with what you're saying a bit with the talented young English managers. I agree. Thanks to all of you guys. Really appreciate it. I'm sorry for the confusion starting a little late, but appreciate the love as always. And come on, you.
Keep the faith.
Yeah.
Come on, you Irons.
All right, guys. Take care.
All right.